What's going on, everyone? Smith here. And you knew I had to make a video about this game. If you've seen my channel before, you know I'm a big fan of Elden Ring. And this game was a bit controversial, but it's definitely my kind of game, like in terms of the stuff that I like to do in Elden Ring. Because although I love to play through Elden Ring, and I've done like so many playthroughs, I've had to delete quite a few characters just so I could do more playthroughs. One of my favorite things to do is help people with boss fights. And I would just drop my summon sign down. I would just do that for hours, just having people summon me and help them out with whatever boss is going on. And that was always quite a lot of fun for me. So when this game got announced and it was multiplayer, basically with a bunch of crazy bosses, I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna enjoy that. It's it's quite a lot of fun. And being able to revive people, which, man, if I could revive people in Elden Ring, that would make so many of those summon boss fights much easier. Because that's the unique challenge in Elden Ring is you have to kill the boss that has double health now, and you have to make sure that the host doesn't get killed. And that you think, oh yeah, that should be easy enough. It's not. Typically, if you're being summoned, it's because people don't know what they're doing, and they get themselves killed quite easily. So it can be tricky to try to keep the boss's attention and keep them away from the host so the host doesn't get himself killed. But it's quite a lot of fun, and this game itself is a really good time. I'm enjoying the heck out of the bosses. I'm enjoying the way the knights are set up. I do agree, like a lot of people have complained, that they need more day 1 and day 2 like variety in terms of bosses. I agree with that for sure. I think we'll get it. I think the big concern with this game is that it wasn't going to be a success because it's so experimental. And that's why a lot of like kind of basic features are missing. I don't think they intended to devote too much to this game because they weren't 100% sure if people were even going to like it. And that's, why it's a $40 game. But they clearly did their due diligence with the bosses because these bosses are awesome, particularly the Everdark variants have been very impressive. There's only 2 out so far, but Gaping Jaw and the horse guy is a little less fantastical than Gaping Jaw, but he's still quite good. And then obviously the big controversy around it is the detachment from the standard FromSoft formula, and a lot of people view this as them like trying to catch on to a trend or selling out or whatever. And sure, maybe, I think there's like fair criticism there in that they're kind of ripping off the Fortnite model with the whole storm and everything, like, yeah. But I don't know what to tell you. It's a lot of fun for me. I'm having a blast playing the game, so it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, they are kind of catching on to a trend, or like following the trends by structuring the game the way it is. But it's fun. So if I'm having fun, and it was only a $40 game, it's like I can't complain too much. I got way more than my money's worth, I think, in terms of enjoyment out of this game. And them's the breaks. This is fine as a field testing game for like different bosses and stuff, which I at least hope that's what their main goal is to use this as kind of a testing ground for new bosses and designs and assets, and they'll add DLCs and hopefully make it more of a... I know it's not technically a live service game, even though they're live servicing it with these events. So hopefully they keep doing that, and then they can do a little experimenting and get community feedback from like different boss designs, and then they can use the ones that were reviewed favorably in like Elden Ring 2 or whatever. That's one way to go about it. I hope they do something like that, because that could be pretty cool. And then this game could obviously have a lot more longevity to it because it's constantly getting new bosses, new enemies, this, that, and the other. It doesn't have to just be the final boss. It could be night 1, night 2 bosses. You could do some cool stuff. So only time will tell. We do know the DLC is on the way, and it's a fun game. I'm having a blast with it right now. The replay value is definitely there, at least for me. So I understand it not being for everybody. Like, it is much more hectic and fast-paced, and you feel like the pressure is always on with that ticking clock in the background. So I definitely sympathize with, like, if this isn't your cup of tea, I definitely sympathize with you not wanting to play the game. But for those who do enjoy the game, to list off, like, my favorite bosses, I think it would go, the Ice Dragon is number 1, which I know he's piss easy, and everybody always rags on the fact that he's piss easy, but the fight is beautiful, and the soundtrack is amazing, and I love the spectacle of the fight. This one's a really good spectacle fight, too, and the soundtrack is also quite good. I like that Ice Dragon fight just a little bit more in terms of the spectacle. Gaping Jaw Everdark would probably be number 2, though, because holy smokes, what a fight. You have everything in this one, whereas you have the spectacle, not quite as good as the other one, but the fight itself is an absolute thrill. It's crazy. The guy's jumping all over the place, he's doing all these crazy things. You gotta jump into those spirit springs and then jump back in, which is also wild. There's so much of this fight that's just so cool. So this would definitely be right behind that one. And then I'd probably pick the final boss, for which, I won't do any spoilers here, but the final boss, if you fought him, you know what a spectacle that is. And yeah, that would probably, all of the bosses are quite good. I think the only one I don't like is the fish guy, or the Elden Beast 2.0. And I mean, it is a nice spectacle fight, it is, but I only play as Wilder is the problem. Like, I absolutely refuse to play as any other character. And here's the funny thing. I love the designs and the abilities of all the other characters. Just, it's kind of the same problem I have with an RPG. I never do like any different designs with RPGs. I typically don't play games that are not RPGs because I want to make my own character and like self-insert myself into the game. That's why I like Elden Ring. I just make a character that try to make them look like me, and then play the game. Wilder definitely suits the kind of character I would be in RPG version of this game. So yeah, that's all I want to play. So as much as I'm impressed with and enjoy, I also just don't really have any desire to play any of the other characters. Like, this definitely suits my play style better because he can kind of do everything. Jack of all trades in every sense of the word. That grappling hook is so useful. It's so unbelievably useful. Particularly for fights where you have to do a lot of running, which is most of these fights. Like, getting around with the grappling hook, especially once you get that extra charge on there, holy smokes, you can cover a lot of ground really, really fast. So that and the cheat death skill, and yeah, I mean, he's got all the abilities that I would want, and I'd be annoyed if I didn't have any of them. At this point, I've been spoiled. So I also like being able to fulfill whatever role is needed. Like, if I need to be more tanky, I can be more tanky. If I need to do more maneuverable type, more DPS oriented, I can do that as well. I can get me a big shield and get me a spear. I can do shield poke if I need to. Or I can even do range damage. And everybody be like, how are you going to do range damage? It's like, you get a Spirit Calling Bell, you get a couple of Starlight Shards, you can do some nasty range damage with that thing. As long as they haven't patched it out yet. A lot of people are wondering if the Wraith Calling Bell is bugged. I don't know. Because it does, like, ridiculous amounts of damage on any character. It does, like, really good damage. And for melee players, I would highly recommend you just have one Just snag one on your run if you can, because holy smokes can that thing come in handy. If you're like, the boss runs away from you, or if you need to like drop a warming stone, recover some HP, you can still do some damage to the boss. And at the cost of next to nothing in FP, from a very safe distance as well. So overall, it's something you should have in your inventory if you're a melee character. If you're a ranged character, it's like, well, you already got good range damage, you don't really need it. But I don't know, well, maybe like the Recluse or the Revenant might be able to make some pretty good use of it. It's funny, in Elden Ring, if I'm doing a straight melee build, I always have a little bit of magic in my pocket, just so if there's any like flying enemies, any enemies that are like a distance away from me, I got a little something to deal with them. Always keep a couple of spells. With all that said, I think this game is quite a lot of fun. I think it's silly that people compare this to Elden Ring in terms of like, oh, which game is better. It's like, Elden Ring is obviously the better game. This game is much more of a package deal, I think. Like, it pairs nicely with Elden Ring and the DLC, I think. Look at that. See, this is what I'm saying. What a beautiful fight. I freaking love that. And the soundtrack. Yeah. That's still my favorite. It's like not as difficult. Yeah, it does not pressure you. Maybe the Everdark version will have more pressure. Who knows? But that fight, that was like my first attempt or second attempt on that guy. And with respect to the game and my recommendation of it, I would definitely recommend, if you like these kinds of games, I would definitely recommend Nightreign. However, I would add a caveat. If this is your first like Souls type game, I would not recommend it at all. I would kind of strongly advise against getting Nightreign as your first Souls type game, because if you're somewhat of a team player when you're willing to be, I guess, you don't like dying. And whenever I play multiplayer games, that's why I don't play multiplayer games, because I hate dying. I feel like I let my team down. So it bugs me quite a lot. It doesn't bug me when other people die, but it bugs me when I die, because it feels like I'm letting people down. So if you don't want to be dying all the time as you're trying to learn how these types of games work, I would strongly recommend something like Elden Ring and the DLC before you venture into this game. It's not that I wouldn't recommend anyone, like if you have friends or something who don't mind carrying you through a lot of this, but even so, you're still probably going to die a lot if you're new to this stuff. When I was new to Elden Ring, it frustrated the heck out of me, because I'm like, how do people play these games? This is ridiculously difficult. So I could not imagine being like totally new to the Souls genre, and then this being your first game. You'd be like, what the heck is going on? This is crazy. How am I supposed to dodge any of this? But it's certainly doable with a bit of practice. All in all, it's a fun game as a one-off. I do not think they should be doing this like all the time. Just because this was successful, I don't want there to be a Nightreign 2 and a Nightreign 3 coming out. This is fine as a one-off, and like I said, hopefully it'll be more of a live service type deal, because I think it's best suited towards that. Which is funny, because it's like, I can't even believe I'm asking for a game to be live service. But yeah, I think this, because it's a multiplayer online game, it's like, yeah, it should be live service. If I want to play solo and offline, I'll go play Elden Ring. I've played this solo. It's a weird mix of easy, difficult, because I didn't play it before they start giving you the free wending runes. But yeah, you basically get free wending runes, which is basically a free full revive. It revives you all the way back to full health. And multiple times too. You can get those from the vendors, and you get a free one like every night. So you get quite a few guaranteed pickups. Whereas, teammates are kind of hit or miss whether or not they're going to be able to revive you. But you do that in solo, coupled with the fact that the boss has way less health than he does when you're playing with 2 or 3 people. It's still incredibly chaotic, particularly like the 3-headed dog. When he splits into 3 dogs, that's a pain in the neck to deal with. But it's still fairly manageable because they have much less health. And it's easier to deal with in solo. It is funny how the conversation initially was like it's impossible solo, and now the conversation has evolved to it's too easy in solo. It seems like the most difficult way to play is to just queue up with randoms, because the majority of the time you're going to get people who don't know what they're doing or only barely know what they're doing. But every now and then you'll queue up with a pretty solid team of people who know what they're doing. I almost exclusively queue up with random people, so it's quite a lot of fun, the randomness of it all. Although it can be a bit of a pain when people are making like really silly decisions, like they're going in there trying to fight the bell-bearing hunter when they're level 5, and I'm like, no, don't go. He's got red eyes. Run away. The bell-bearing hunter is definitely an ego check in that even when you're like a, mid-level, unless you're just like over-leveled and you got like really good gear, you should not be messing with him. And it's not a question of whether or not you and your team can beat him. He's got way too much health, way too much poise. He's too much of a pain in the neck, and the rewards are just not worth the trouble it is to kill him. It's like, just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean you should. I do get quite a kick out of all the memes about him being like basically Darth Vader, which I definitely would agree with. He is quite spooky when you run up to him and you're like, uh-oh, it's that guy. Get out of here. Don't want none of that. Especially when you're a low level, you're just like, we're not messing with that. But every now and then you'll queue up with randoms who don't know his reputation. They'll be like, oh yeah, let's go fight this guy. And it's like, no, you fool. Well, I think that's going to do it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How you feel about the game. Favorite bosses, favorite class, all that good stuff. Overall, I'm having an absolute blast with the game. It is the most fun I've had since the Elden Ring DLC came out. So I'm going to continue to play it, and hopefully they'll continue with their little events and whatnot, and looking forward to the DLC in the future. And we'll see where it takes us. Hopefully somewhere good. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.